Good afternoon, Southeast Asia. You are watching the Garena Premier League 2017 Spring. We are on our second day of the group stages, and we will be your shoutcaster for this game. I am Vulcan, and joining with me is my co-caster, Atlas.
Yes, we'll be getting into Game 3 for today. In the second day of our group stages is going to be Team Rigel from Singapore versus Kuala Lumpur Hunters, of course, from Malaysia. And we just got back from that game where Rigel beat Fortius. That was their second game. And wow, I did not expect them. And that's really showing how they've improved and planned and really ironed out a lot of their issues from yesterday, getting their first win for the group stages of the Garena Premier League.
Yeah, it's about the time where they know the counterplay. We are on the second day of the group stage. So it's a matter of fact that they saw what happened in day one, and they used that information to fight back in the second day. And we saw in their schedule that on game 4, it would be Mineski versus Fortius.
Yeah, and that's going to be really... each game here will decide how the seeds will go for getting into the knockout stages. So every game is important. Every victory, every loss is going to affect how everyone else plays.
Yeah.
So,
and right now, Mineski is actually sitting in the first spot for now. I mean,
for now, it can change
so much. It can change. Their other competitor would be KLH. So
Kuala Lumpur Hunters, I still think that they're one of the best chances of getting out of the group stages, along with Mineski. It's pretty consistent with the standings we have right now. Looking at it, yeah, Mineski's 3-1 right now. Fortius and KLH both 2-2. But looking at how they've been performing, I do think that Kuala Lumpur Hunters is more solid. Their team play, they do have some issues to iron out. Actually, all of the teams have issues they need to iron out. But I do think that Kuala Lumpur Hunters is still a really strong contender getting out of group stages. And they'll be facing up against Rigel for our third game for today. We'll be seeing how all of that plays out in their drafting phase very, very soon. But looking at it, I'm really still excited because it's still anybody's game for the top two. Because there's 3 teams, very strong teams right now that have the greatest chance of getting into the knockout, into the semis. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, it's a matter of time that in the second group of this group stage, it could be anyone's game.
Yeah.
And what can you say about the standings? And what team do you think has a higher chance of entering the knockout stage?
Right now, looking at the numbers, Mineski is #1. But I still think that with how they played, I think Kuala Lumpur's is so solid that I still think they have a good chance of getting first seed to not face Vietnam, and instead they'll be facing Ascension getting into the knockout stages. But we're going to see how the rest of their performance for today against Team Rigel in our third game is getting into the ban phase.
So right now it would be Team Rigel on the blue side. They have the first pick and the first ban. On KLH would be on the red side. So what would be their priority to ban in your opinion, Atlas?
I'm really not going to say, yeah, of course, I expected that. The Lee Sin ban against GPL, that's really one of his high impact, very early game pressure junglers, and banning that away from him is really going to help Team Rigel get their act together and continue the momentum they had from the game previous. And Shiela, I'm thinking that they can play around Shiela a lot more. They're 80 carry. And so they're really taking away lots of champions from Kuala Lumpur Hunters, KPL especially, that can take out Shiela. So that assassin will not be there to assassinate Shiela.
And not to mention, right now, despite Team Rigel focus banning KPL, KPL is not even afraid to ban his own meta champion. So let's see what other pocket pick he has to offer in this game.
It's going to be still Shiro, always drawing that Renekton ban. Really powerful. I know that you, Vulcan, really love playing Renekton and really love seeing all his plays. Every Renekton that has gone through the ban phase, that survived through the banning and got picked in, has always had some really powerful plays. So banning that against one of the most solid top laners in the GPL, Shiro, is something. Means Team Rigel has been studying the performance of the teams and the players in day 1.
And right now, it's a matter of enabling the teammates they want to focus on. Right, we saw how KLH was shut down by Mineski in the previous game, day 1 in the group stage. Saw how they focused on KPL. Right now, Team Rigel saw it happen maybe they'll pull off the same strategy Mineski did. Let's see how it
and
goes
they're
out.
actually first picking the Lulu.
That's a high priority pick.
high priority pick, and also last in the Kuala Lumpur Hunters previous game, the first pick Lulu really did hamper Caspiel's ability to just pressure the bot lane and then assassinate. There's going to be still focusing on Rumble. Shuro on that Rumble is still very, very strong. Caspiel on that Graves, very aggressive, going for lots of damage here, but it's still the worry for Kuala Lumpur Hunters coming in from last game is they did lack an enabler for all the damage that they have. So if they're still opting for, say, a bot lane with Karma, it might be very hard for them to actually initiate into the actual fights. On the other hand, Team Rigel's going for a lot of safety. Going for a lot of safety with a Caitlyn, Lulu already giving away their bot lane. Not a lot of information, really.
Not just yet. Let's see. On their last first picking phase, what will Team Rigel prioritize? What will they lock in, and what champion will they secure in order for that lineup to work? I mean, it's a Lulu and a Caitlyn, so obviously Lulu, one of the top pick supports among the supports, and let's see a hover on the Ivern, and that would be a lock-in.
A lock-in for the Ivern jungle. Very annoying, very weirdly played jungle. The pressure that he can bring out is pretty strong. And I'm really looking forward to Ivern. This is the first time we've seen Ivern in the GPL for this year. Well, because he was released in the season. But yeah, I'm looking forward to how CYH can apply that, because he can really be the one to steal resources from Caspiel.
And not to mention, Caspiel played the Kha'Zix the last time against RG. Now it's banned.
It's one of his strongest champions.
Yeah, one of the strongest champions. And his performance on the Graves wasn't as good. But let's see here how he can, this time in this game, perform better.
And I think I really like the Ivern pickup for Team Rigel. If they can apply it correctly, that means that CYH can steal a lot of resources from Caspiel and really just beat him at his own game of really aggressively rotating and invading, counter jungling. That's going to be a Cinder lock-in for R-Hedge. Very powerful. The Scatter the Weak is going to be so powerful once they get a good pick off, and then they can just initiate and follow up with like the equalizer plus the rest of the burst coming from Caspiel. But we're gonna look into the second banning phase. The Shen banned away from Team Rigel, plus the Echo possibility from Karolix is gone now.
Looks like they are removing those hard engages, and the moment that when a clash happens, they do not want a high priority target to be shielded by the Stand United.
Yes.
I mean, the way that KLH plays is that they go in and they get out quickly. That's how they want to play, and banning at the Shen is pretty understandable.
They're really playing like tigers in their logo. Hunters just prowling, go in, eat the prey, and then get out. It's going to be the Karma, as you said. They don't want to deal with shields either. The utility from Karma is pretty huge.
Yes.
So that's going to be an easier lane for Ciela and Arcane without having to deal with so much poke coming from the Inner Flame. The Jhin as well.
Let's see for the ADC on KLH's side.
Might be that's going to be the Varus.
The Varus is open. So
yeah, that's one of the...
I would have...
Oh, yeah.
I think Lucian would have been better.
Yeah, Lucian would have been better, but actually, yeah, but picking Lucian into Caitlyn is...
Pretty death trap itself because of the trap.
It's like walking into a trap that you know is there, because the range from Caitlyn is so oppressive.
So to match the range, they picked the Varus.
They picked the Varus as well, and can match in terms of the actual firefights that happen. We see Team Rigel picking up the Swain and the Kled. Wow.
That would be a final lock. Team Rigel's drafting right now looks pretty solid, but I think they lack the early damage.
And really, all of these champions need some time to scale up. It might be up to CYH to protect them in lane with the seed bombs and just able to just protect his team. And the most important here is he has to steal from Caspiel, and he has to provide the buffs for his mid laner, Krolix, to just keep him within that, just able to sustain the Crow Storm, rather the Ravenous Flock, sorry.
So that would be a good synergy for the Zyra pickup for the Varus. So on the Team Rigel side, we can see a Caitlyn and a Lulu. Not sure how it's going to fare with a very aggressive and powerful support.
Even bringing the Ignite here, they're really looking for kill pressure here. And Caspiel, I believe he's going to go down their bot for a lot of those fights to help out Bipolar.
Let's see. That's going to be an interesting lineup for KLH too. They secured the Rumble against the Kled. How will you see this lineup and matchup? Kled against the Rumble.
Like against Rumble, they are both Yordles. They're both very small, but I do think that it's so easy to bait as Kled. Because Rumble, he relies on a lot of sustained damage from a Flame Spitter and the Shock Lances, being able to brawl it out. And Kled as well relies on that. But if Kled becomes unmounted, the relatively slow damage coming from Rumble might be enough for Skarl to come back and then turn the tides of battle. So I do think it's a little bit of a skill matchup, depending on how good the top laner can bait it out and how good. And it's also up to Shiro to not overcommit to a lot of fights.
Yes, and not to mention, we saw the Iron picked up, so that will enable the mid lane and the bot lane to get the buffs.
Getting
So
double buffs.
double buffs for Caitlyn. I mean, a red buff for Caitlyn.
And a blue buff for Neswain. Both really enables their laning.
So that's going to be a huge harass coming in from Team Rigel with the help of the buff from Ivern. And not to mention, it's going to be very aggressive to see the opponent in the bot lane. How will they fare against that?
And I do think that the red buff will be super helpful once CYH gives it off to Ciela. Being able to fight a little bit better, a little bit of bonus damage from the red buff, kiting as well.
Yeah,
plus
to match the aggression.
that's just a little bit of that health regeneration coming from the red buff. On the blue side, on the blue buff side is Krolix, of course, with that just able to sustain the ultimate. But of course, we're gonna have to see how all of that plans out in the game after all of this.
Between Team Rigel versus Kuala Lumpur Hunters in Game 3. Team Rigel on the blue side versus Kuala Lumpur Hunters on the red side.
Of course. Okay. Just getting that snare out. KSPL just looking for the entrances of the jungle. Just going to line up scrimmage. They don't want to be invaded, especially by that CYH. If CYH is actually one of picking that Ivern is one of we might see one of the early invades happening here with that Ivern, but seems like he's just gonna stay on his blue side, maybe transition it into actually stealing more camps once he feels a lot more secure. Because a level 1 here I think is a lot stronger for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. So if they ever get into a fight, it might be messy for Rigel.
Yeah, right now what Team Rigel is doing. And the same thing with Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They are trying to deny the invade that the Ivern is trying to do at the level 1. That would you would expect a level 1 cheese from an Ivern, no doubt.
No doubt, no doubt. That's why that champion is so annoying, being able to just deny so many resources. And KSPL will have, should have a harder time if CYH plays the Ivern well and properly.
And denying the red invade of the Ivern would be something that you would really go for when you're level 1. So denying that would spell, I don't know, the same pressure that the Ivern can bring to the jungle at level 1 is not there anymore.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. There on the bot side, you can see that Bipolar and CO4 immediately getting an aggressive positioning, using all of the plants and seeds to just get that harass, get the early level 2, which is one of the most important things in an aggressive bot lane. So that's what they want to do. But looking at the other lanes, it seems like, let's see how KSPL is going to path his way around the jungle.
And not to mention, we're seeing that CO4 starting with a longsword and 3 health pots. So when an ADC starts with a 3 longsword and 1 longsword and 3 health pots, you would expect that he is going to rush that one item on the virus. It could be the lethality, but right now I think the Blade of the Rune King is a more favorable pickup for an virus early in the game.
After the changes a few patches ago, we are on 7.6 for the GPL Spring 2017. It's really better to build just the classic attack speed.
We've seen this on the Lucian too in our previous day 1 of the group stage. Like when you get the lead in a kill or CS, immediately you can get the Cutlass.
Yeah, the Bridgewater Cutlass, because having to build the Vampiric Scepter first actually hurts you a lot if you're timing, if you get behind in lane and you're timing for the recall.
So it's a double edge.
It's a double-edged sword, but having Arcane and Ciela on that Lulu and Caitlyn, it brings a lot of saves to the lane. So you can, I'd rather having Bipolar on that very aggressive Zyra.
Yeah, very aggressive
They can make a lot
Zyra.
more proactive plays, which means they should have a lot more control on the recall timing of CO4. But of course, Shella and Arcane very safe in lane.
Not to mention, we can also see that Varus is on the utility side of the Master Race, seeing the Biscuit. So to match his aggressive starting item, we can also see the Zyra was picked up to match that strategy. Right now in the mid lane, some trade-offs happening off. Arhedge is having a hard time closing in onto Swain. Both of them same health right now, but chugging down the potions.
But it should be noted that Arhedge still has all of his potions, actually just chugging it right now. Caspiel, aggressive as always, wanting to get a gank for his mid lane.
Oh,
Arhedge.
let's see. Here comes
There
Caspiel.
we go.
Gralix gets stunned. And there's the follow-up with the end of the line, securing the first blood.
Yeah, that is very bad for Rigel that Caspiel got the first blood out of anyone here in Team Kuala Lumpur Hunters, because that just means that he's going to be stronger, has more gold, has more experience, able to beat COAH at the supposed game where COAH is supposed to be the annoying jungler that steals your resources.
Look at how Caspiel's moving right now. Seeing that CYH is in the mid lane, trying to take some resources from the enemy jungler.
Putting out some a little bit of vision as well to see his clear pathing. That's going to be important, gives a lot of information for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Krolix dying there first, has to build double Dorans for now and delaying his core items. If he's going for, say, a row, it's going to be very painful to have to delay that.
And right now things are
Double Dorans for
looking...
both mid laners.
Yeah, in the mid lane itself, in terms of damage, it's pretty equal in the range itself. But it's up to the junglers to intervene and help the mid laners pick up an easy kill, like what happened in the first block for KLH.
And because of how the meta is, I think the meta is a very jungler-centric kind of meta right now, which I think is why KLH has been shining a lot more. Caspiel playing around Caspiel just lets them play to their strengths, play to the strengths of the meta as well. Is fortunate for them. And it seems like he's just going to continue putting out pressure, clearing his own camps.
We really have to watch out for the level 6 spike. If ever Revive hits level 6, we will expect that he will make the teleport plays coming from the top lane to the bot lane, or use the charge to close in on the mid lane.
Yeah, mid lane. Arhedge does not have a lot of mobility, only has the flash. But
the Scatter the Weak, right?
But the scatter, but the charge can just ignore the Scatter of the Weak as well. And then he just once he gets in there, it's gonna be very hard for Arhedge to escape. Once Krolix and maybe COIH follows up on that against Arhedge, but that's still gonna be the level 6. You can see Revive. Resourceless champion, both of them resourceless champion, just really spamming their skills, their abilities to just CS a little bit more safely.
And note that CYH prioritizing the boots of mobility. We would expect that he will be rotating more, but that will delay his jungle items.
Yeah, he's just level 4 right now.
But I guess that's not a problem when it's an Ivor in terms of clear.
Yeah, in terms of clear, you just walk around. Because you don't need to stay so long. You just need to put down in your grove, and then here comes Caspiel, though, always looking for something aggressive.
Always looking something to steal from Rigel's jungle.
Yeah, CYH has a lot of freedom to rotate around the map here because of how he works, how his clear works. He doesn't really need to smite his weight around and then come back after he has applied the pressure. But so far, it doesn't seem like CYH has applied the pressure that one would usually expect from an Ivern so far.
I think we have to wait for the level 5 of the level 6 of the Ivern, because when that hits, he not just the Daisy, the fact that he can give a red buff to Ciela and a blue buff to Krolix.
It's gonna help their laning so much, especially Krolix with that blue buff.
It's gonna change totally.
Yeah, the Ravenous Flock being able to be sustained for much longer is gonna make Krolix such a threat once they gank Arhedge. Of course, Arhedge, with the burst that he has, plus building the Sorcerer's Shoes, can pierce through that Negatron Cloak a little bit for that damage against Krolix.
And looking at that, Caspiel gets spotted by Krolix. He's trying to get away. Quick draws off the grass. There is the end of the line. Caspiel is in kill range, but a trade-off of Summoner Spells in the mid lane.
Yeah, Caspiel, very dangerous positioning, always having dangerous positioning, but he has his team to back him up, and that's why he is so fearless. But yeah, Krolix does not want to go in too far and go in too deep into that. Not just because Arhej is there, but because he would run out of mana before Caspiel actually escapes, before Caspiel can actually be killed. Plus, he has the Warlord's Bloodlust, so it's going to be a bit harder for him to take him down if ever he did go in.
Things are looking pretty slow-paced for both teams, knowing that they are waiting for their level 6 spikes. Right now, Revive is level 7. He does have his charge and teleport, but no deep wards are placed on the bot side just yet.
It's going to be up to Arcane if he wants to get those deep wards, as well as CYH. He has, as you said, he has a lot of freedom to rotate around the map with the way his clear works, but so far not a lot of
There
deep
is the Chain of Corruption connecting to Arcane, but no follow-up. That was a lack of mana for CO4.
Lack of mana from actually all 4 laners here in bot lane. And
GPL just takes away CYH's red buff.
And gets the security of escaping. You having to use the collateral damage. Fears any sort of follow-up.
The bot in the top lane seeing a reverse push for Revive. This time it's Shiro hugging the turret with a Tiamat finished for Revive and hunting guys for Shiro. In terms of damage, the Revive is catching up.
The Revive is really catching up with the building at Tiamat as well. Will allow him to create bear, but look at this.
There it is, bear trap on the rope. There is the slow from it, and Shiro is in kill range, and there is a pause.
And even though if Shiro does have his flash available there, so even if he does flash away, the charge for the follow-up will.
He does have his flash.
Yeah, flash. But even then, you can just charge to follow up there. And really, I think that's one of the power of Kled, and how he just grows in power in lane. The more he levels, the more he gets his items, the less the Rumble can do against him, because he just clears your wave faster with the Tiamat, and plus he can just keep you there with the bear trap on the chain, keep chasing you with the joust.
It's the joust and the kite that Kled has, so he has easier time in terms of dueling Rumble, but he does have the flash. We'll see if he will use the flash to get away from the damage.
I'm really excited to see Kled. Really one of the champions I've always liked since its release. You can just go in, go bonobo, and just go charge in. And really, I think it is going to fit with the playstyle of Rigel here later into the game. They do have the safety from the Caitlyn, but when they do want to go in, they have that Kled to lead the charge. So I'm really liking it.
So we would be having some technical difficulties right now, but stay tuned to our fellow viewers out there. And we would also take this time to thank our major sponsors, Plantronics, PLDD, and Corian.
Of course, thank you to all our viewers from all around Southeast Asia and beyond, and to everyone, to the Philippine fans here, or maybe even other Southeast Asia fans here that are planning to fly here just for GPL Finals. That will be held on Sunday, April 16 in Samsung Hall in SM Aura. So it's really been it's just been 2 days so far of the group stages. It's still been an honor. It's still so huge as an event. Everyone from Southeast Asia are going to duke it out here for a slot in MSI 2017. The changes to the format just makes it so interesting, and I'm looking forward to how everything plays out.
And right now, things are looking pretty good for KLH's laning phase for now, but the fact that Team Rigel hit their level 6, this is going to be a different game. Explosive, different pace, and know that the Ivern will be giving extra pressure to mid lane and bot lane, giving them buffs.
I think, Team Rigel can afford to shift gears here. Looking at their power spikes and looking at how much pressure that Revive can put down, as well as the mid lane, being able to survive through the initial burst of Scatter the Weak into the Unleashed power. I think that they have a good chance of CYH putting out a lot more pressure, has more freedom to go bot lane and help them out. Because these two solo laners, they are pretty self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and they can survive in lane very well, despite any, say, ganks.
And not to mention, if a gank does happen in the bot lane, there is the Zyra for the Stranglethorns and a lot of CC and slows, plus from the Varus also. So, what do you think for the junglers? Do you think they're going to even bother with the bot lane right now?
I think they can. There's a lot but I think it's going to be easier for CYH to gank bot lane.
Why is that?
They don't have of course they have the Stranglethorns, but after that, Zyra can't put out a lot of reliable ways to defend her wards, the ones that she's guarding, the ones she's supporting. So after that, let's say CYH gets a snare, he goes into melee range, and then gets the Wild Growth, able to slow down the bot lane of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. That might be a big opportunity for for the free hits coming from the Caitlyn, the headshots as well. So I do think that they have a good chance, but they need to position the lane well.
I think also it'll count to the top lane. There's a Kled. But if ever teleport play happens, I think a Rumble would be better when a teleport play happens instead of a Kled, because the charge, he has to travel a distance to actually maximize the shield.
Yeah, the shield. But in case of just a 3v3, and then because if a teleport play does happen and Shiro is not positioned well, it can be easily cancelled by the bear trap on a rope. But on the other hand, Kled can just teleport willy-nilly. And even though let's say that he gets unmounted, he can still refill his courage when he actually gets into the team fight very quickly, as long as he's hitting champions and then getting his violent tendencies procs.
You know, speaking of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, when they first came to the Philippines, the first thing they did was, I heard from Metanoia that they went to Jollibee and they tried the tuna pie, and they say it was pretty good. And in my opinion, I didn't like the tuna pie that much.
Do you like? Yeah, this one really. There's only two choices for tuna pie. It's either Jollibee or Goldilocks.
Jollibee or Goldilocks.
And I really like the filling and the crispiness of it.
But it's really nice to see that KLH is enjoying tuna pie from Jollibee.
I remember that we taught KLH a new word.
Yeah.
We taught them how to say rapsa. Yeah. And it's a rap. It's a rap. It means delicious, and they really are willing to learn. It's really, that's one of the best things about international events, tournaments as well, is that everyone comes here to one location. People learn culture, people appreciate food.
They also tried the ensaimada.
Ensaimada.
It's really nice to see them trying out the foods here. Of course, when you're in a new country, you would try the foods.
Yeah, of
and
course.
It's nice to see that KLH is enjoying it so far. I think they also tried the pancit and adobo.
Oh, adobo. They really said adobo was delicious, and really, but it's not just like exclusive to the Philippines. If GPL, if say the next year would be held in somewhere like in any other Southeast Asian country, I bet all the pro players there would go there. Let's say Vietnam. I've been really addicted to banh mi lately. So if players say go to Vietnam, they're gonna try out their food. Really, any country that pro players go to, they will experience the food, the culture, the language, and this.
And
really,
the experience overall. I mean,
really
it's the GPL is all about joining in teams and having a host country, and it's all about the experience and practicing good sportsmanship. Right now, to our viewers out there, we are experiencing some technical difficulties on Shiro's side.
Yeah?
Could be the reason why that happened in the top lane. Let's see what happens.
We're gonna see, but yeah, I think that Southeast Asia is also one of those regions where this kind of culture in tournaments where the players can just experience everything about the host country. I think it's really special for Southeast Asia because you don't need a visa to really travel around. You just plus it's very close but separated. Southeast Asia, the countries are very close, but they're also separated by so much ocean, so much sea. But Southeast Asia. But they can really get along. There's, let's say, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. They have a lot of similarities in terms of language. So all of those factors really, I think, make Southeast Asia special in terms of how the culture is shared every time there's an international tournament that the players go to, that the coaches go to, the managers go to. And really, that's why you see Southeast Asia is special.
So right now, we would be resuming the game in just a bit. Looks like the technical difficulties has been resolved. So stay tuned for that. We will be resuming in just a bit. But going back to since we're going back to the game, I'm really curious how it's going to play out in the top lane. Right now, it's going to be a different type of battle because when Kled reaches level 6 and up, Rumble might have a hard time this time trading off against the Kled. At this level, I think Kled can actually bait out Skarl pretty well.
And just being able to even if you go down to just unmounted, he still has a lot of tools. The musket, being able to do a lot of burst damage similar to just like Graves auto attack, is very strong. Plus,
it's for his kiting, right?
It's for his kiting as well as refilling his courage to get Skarl back. And the most important thing here, I think, is the burst from violent tendencies, whether you're mounted or unmounted. Once any Rumble gets into a disfavorable trade, then he can just, and he tries to escape, he can just follow up with charge.
But there's also the equalizer, so I'm not pretty sure about that.
Yeah,
But
we can just joust out of that.
you can just out of it. And to our viewers out there, we'll be having a short commercial break, so that after that we'll be resuming into the game.
The new high-performance Rig 500 headset from Plantronics is designed to match the skills of an aspiring esport player with the gear they need to win. The new modular system gives you the power to adapt, upgrade, and personalize your headset for the task at hand. The Rig 500 series of gaming headsets are engineered to deliver the perfect combination of durable lightweight comfort in an immersive audio environment. 7.1 surround sound and 24-bit audio provide a stunning 360-degree sound field with directional audio. 40mm drivers with low-frequency resonators provide crisp highs and boosted bass. Clear voice noise-canceling technology provides clear communication to your teammates. From the headset company that equips the pros, the 500 series was crafted to meet the needs of esports and competitive players around the world. The new Rig 500 series of headsets from Plantronics. Respect the training. Reactions win.
we are back onto the rift with the game of Rigel Gaming versus Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Let's get to the game. So, I think he did burn the flash on that.
Yeah, burned the flash, and it seems like Revive did not opt to use his charge. Wants to save it for a good team fight, but importantly, Shiro had to use his teleport there to save.
The aggression from the top lane just goes to show. Right now, Shiro has no teleport, has no flash. So if ever a bot lane clash does happen, Revive will be the only one to respond in the top lane.
It seems like Caspiel is hanging around the top side. Shiro does not have both of his summer spells. Revive might be tempted to go on him. Just charge in. Naturally, that's one of your natural tendencies as a Kled player, is to just see an opportunity and charge in, but that might be dangerous with Caspiel hanging around the wings.
There it is.
There we
Trap
go.
on the rope. It does connect on to Shiro. Look at the damage coming in, but here comes Caspiel for the assist. The charge will not help enough. There is the flash burnt onto Revive. A flash also onto Caspiel. The collateral damage will not finish it up. Maybe the equalizer. It does finish up Revive.
And that is one of the dangers that I talked about. As a Kled player, you really want to go in, knowing Shiro does not have either of his summer spells, but KLH was too far away, and Caspiel able to help Shiro get that kill there with that equalizer. And really, after that, I think Revive, once he gets unmounted, I think he just continue fighting. Use the...
He did use the charge, but immediately he got dismounted.
Yeah, he got dismounted.
Did he
after
get the
that.
shield on that?
No, because he traveled such a short distance. Not able to do a lot of damage with that as well. The knockup not really mattering much there. But yeah, what happened there?
He did bump into a champion immediately.
Yeah,
He is immune to CC, but we saw how Caspiel blocked his escape.
Just
Seeing Daisy saying hello to Arhedge. Very low on the timer. He would be going back into the forest in the bot lane.
Forest. It seems like bot lane here. They all have their summer spells. The ultimates are up. Most importantly, the wild growth and the stranglethorns, plus the chain of corruption coming from CO4. Seems like our junglers are trying to get a little play here, establishing some semblance of vision around the area.
Caspiel does get spotted out.
Yeah.
So that is a gank that Rigel denies from KLH. 11 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, we see a score of 0-2, but in the bot lane, Ciela just dodging the rain of arrow shadows, but there is CYH Bipolar forcing out his flash, but Caspiel is there.
Seems like they still want to fight.
There is the bind. Bipolar very low. There is a kill trade coming in, but here is Arhedge from the mid lane. A bit too late. 1-1 trade. But
it's going to be a 1-for-1 so far, but that's going to be in favor of KLH because that does give them the Ocean Break opportunity. CYH does not seem to be wanting to steal that. That is Ocean Break onto KLH.
Looks like this will just be...
Yes.
It's a matter of support, of trading out your mid laner for your support, and I think that trade is bad.
Kralix would have had a lot of impact within that Ocean Dragon fight. Just putting down the Ravenous Flock, being able to put out a lot of damage in that little, that small corner of the map. That would have hurt so much, but yeah, he did die.
Yes. That trade
took lots of damage from the Ocean Drake and then burst from Caspiel as well.
Right now, let's see the itemization of Revive. He does finish up the phage. Will be going towards a Black Cleaver path, but on Shiro's side, he does have the Hunting Guys, the Ninja Tabi, but he picked up another cloth armor. We will expect maybe an Arm Seeker's Guard.
Yeah, Arm Seeker. Yeah, just to get some armor up, the more defense against Revive. The Ninja Tabi as well to help against the auto attacks. Really helpful in the lane against that.
Look at that. CO4 finishing up the Blade of the Ruined King. But on Ciela picks up the BF Sword and Pickaxe. So he be going for the Infinity Edge. But on CO4, he already has the Blade of the Ruined King.
Seems like they really are going for the long game here. Because Blade of the Ruined King, that's a big spike early. But that does delay a lot of your crit.
So when does if ever a fight does happen in the bot lane, will Ciela be able to outtrade or outdo CO4?
In the short burst, if they get into a fight, CO4 might just use the active very effectively. But after that, Ciela might have an upper hand in terms of the trade. But of course, attack speed on CO4, that's actually huge. I do think that CO4 will come out on top if the longer the trades continue. He has the life steal, he has the attack speed. But if Ciela can get some really good headshots out with the help of Arcane Speed Boost, it might be super worth it for Rigel.
Right now, GPL invading the space of Rigel. There is the blue buff of Stick, CYH in the mid lane, so this would be a blue buff given to our hedge.
It's going to be super helpful for our hedge, and that just means that's actually denying 2 blue buffs for Rigel.
Look at that, CYH returning a favor, and now it's Kralix taking the blue buff.
Trade and very quickly just put the Grove down and then smite it. Seems like they will try transitioning into a
Oh,
bot
look at
lane.
that! Teleport in. Here comes Shiro. Kralix gets caught off guard by the Strangle Thor. He does flash away, but CYH is in grave danger. The Chain of Corruption does land onto Kralix, but the focus is on to CYH.
Where's
Next
Revive?
is Kralix. Look at that. 4 members collapsing onto Kralix. He gets taken down by GPL.
I have no idea why Revive didn't teleport down there. He had a lot of points where he could teleport and then charge in, and he did, but instead he opted to try and push the top lane. But that's going to be 3 members against 1 racing for the first turret of the game. Seems like Revive will actually get this first, but still, that's not worth it. Trading 3 and 1 tower for none and the first turret of the game, that's more worth it for Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
He did get the first turret, but that is not really worth right now. KLH is trading it off for 3 members down.
2 towers.
And 2 towers.
Wow, and it's going to be Ciela. Yeah, Ciela got caught there. Let's look at the replay and how everything went down. Ciela here, around here, but CO4 trying to duel CO4, but in the end, that's a lot of free hits denied from him onto Caspiel, onto Shiro, onto our hedge, and now here.
And right now,
man, it's going to be Kralix.
Yeah, the less priority is Kralix
Yeah.
for KLH, leaving him just for the last kill. So right now, it's obvious that KLH will go towards Ciela first instead of Kralix, because right now, Kralix
He doesn't have any of he has
not
his
much of
Roa.
a threat.
Not much of a threat. That Roa still has to ramp up. And in that fight, yeah, you could just ignore the Ravenous Flock. Doesn't really do a lot of damage. He just had his Negatron Cloak, Catalyst plus the Negatron plus the Blasting Wand. That's not a lot of value, but you want to take down Ciela, who already has the Zerg's boost plus the Infinity Edge. That's a bigger threat, so they focus on that and just leave Kralix alone.
Right now, Rigel trying to push out the bot lane. Not gonna work out for them. We can see that Bipolar just clearing out vision for control.
It's going to be CYH laying around the wings. I think they really want this other turret here in the bot lane.
They
CYH,
do want to pressure the bot lane because the Ocean Drake is live pretty much soon. 1 minute and 20 seconds in. Right now, KLH has 1 Ocean Drake. They cannot afford to give them that second Ocean Drake.
That is a lot of regeneration. Maybe 1 Ocean Drake is just a teensy bit of overtime regeneration, but 2, that basically doubles the healing that they get from there, both mana and health.
Not to mention, KLH is known for weaving in and out of battles, so an Ocean Drake buff will really influence the tide of battle.
Yeah, they can just disengage. They have a few tools for that, especially as Stranglethorns. Wait it out for a little bit. They do have a lot of tools. They have long-range tools, plus the Scatter the Weak to help them out in their retreat, and they can re-engage after that. Once the charge and the powers and the in-battle power spikes of Kled are gone, KLH can afford to save some of their cooldowns, disengage, and then go back in. Because it really doesn't matter when they re-engage RG.
Right
as long
now,
as the Kled does not have the ultimate.
Yeah, it's a matter of if a team member of Rigel gets caught by KLH and it's not a favorable spot, I think Rigel should just leave his teammate for dead. I mean, instead of sacrificing or risking 4 members, let KLH pick up 1 member and regroup.
Yeah, and
that's what happened in the bot lane.
Rigel has really not been playing to their win conditions as a composition here. Ideally, you want to just stack the knockups.
There it is, the Ocean Drake is live with KLH at first for grab.
There is a ward there for Revive if he wants to teleport.
I don't think that's going to happen. The Ocean
no
Drake
contest
is pretty low. That would be an uncontested Ocean Drake.
Yeah, no response. This is going to be so much regeneration for KLH, and really, if Rigel wants to bypass all that healing, they have to go all in a 5v5. The gold lead that Kuala Lumpur Hunters has is not huge, 3k at this point of the game, but
it's the itemization and the
yes,
lead
the itemization
they have
that's stopping them.
in objective. Now, right now, the next Drake would be the Infernal. So if
Okay.
Rigel just gives all the Drakes to KLH when it comes to the late game, KLH will be winning the team fights no matter what. I mean, the sustain, weaving in and out, that's what KLH likes to do, and that's what KSPL will do in the late game.
And then Rigel, they have to scale up a little bit longer now because of they are losing the dragons, they're losing the objectives.
And the Baroness will be live in 30 seconds.
But imagine this, if Rigel is able to get a good team fight out, let's say Revive charges in, all 5 follow him, Krolix just taking down everyone with the Ravenous block, and Arcane also there with the Wild Growth to help with the engage with the charge, but they need those items, and they need to get
yeah,
their
when a
power
team
spikes.
fight does happen, it will only be Ciela to deal the damage because Swain right now, just a Roa, not even the Abyssal Scepter completed, so if ever a fight does happen, KLH will be breathing down Ciela's neck and making him the first target to take down.
Really, it's one of those times where you wonder about your composition and ask yourself, did I draft something that's way too slow? Because CYH, because of his laners being so slow, he has not been able to put out the pressure he wants.
Oh yeah, the buff play that we were talking about did not even be, it was not even executed, yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, of course, it's CYH's duty to apply pressure. But if his laners naturally cannot apply that pressure, help with that pressure,
that's gonna spell trouble. And right now, some pressure up on Rigel's side. Right now, KSPL is still trying to deny CYH's resources, does not want any member to have those 2 buffs. I mean,
he's been doing it so effectively. Look at
so
the CS lead on him.
So clean
42.
in and out. And 3 members of KLH. And the bot side, there is the equalizer, but there's the redemption. RH making his way. Scared away, finishes off Arcane. There's the flash from CYH, but leaving Ciela for dead. Revive is the only one remaining on Mountain. He gets taken down without any trouble. But now, 3 members of our Rigel down. That will spell for a Baron.
That's definitely going to be a Baron for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They just go in straight to the face, and really, Rigel really drafted something that's way too slow. I was thinking that maybe CYH could mitigate that with the pressure that we put out, but realizing that the laners are slow.
The laners are slow. The engage,
slow to scale, rather.
Yeah, the engage takes time. They have to watch it for Revive. And here's the replay on what happened.
Look at the replay. Look at how much damage Arcane, and he's just running out. And look at that burst coming from RH. Not even a chance to cast Wild Growth. And that just everything just falls apart here. Revive can try to 1v5, but it's not going to work out anymore after this. It just left for dead there. And if you leave your frontliner to take on all of those members without trading for something, like putting out lots of free hit damage, it's really not going to work out. Shiro is just doing so much damage with the equalizer there, splitting the team apart.
And with the and right now, KLH just gave 1 kill to Rigel, so that spells a lot of, that really displays a message towards Rigel. The aggression coming in from KLH on the mid lane inner turret. Let's see if Rigel will be able to fend it off. They do not have their crucial ultimates ready, but on KLH's side, there is the equalizer ready, same as the Unleash power. If ever a clash does happen,
but they have to be really careful here. They don't have vision around their own bot side jungle, which is where Kuala Lumpur Hunter is. That's a very good trap line, but CO4 just walking in between all those to get this turret.
The brushes are not even gonna help trying to scare off KLH. They are fearless, they're stacked up, they do have the Baron buff, and right now, Revive in the bot lane. Shiro just fending him off and pushing the lane. Make that 4 members closing in.
For here, because that's a lot of flank points that Kuala Lumpur Hunters has. If Rigel wants to defend this badly.
There is the equalizer ready for Shiro if ever they do want to go all in. Let's hope that Rigel is ready if ever that happens. But why risk it? The Infernal Drake will be up for grabs in less than 1 minute and 3 seconds.
And they do not want to give that away. RH is still setting up the spheres. If he catches someone out, especially Ciela, that's going to be a bad time.
Already, Daisy's in for the tag, and there is the Skywing. And Revive for the bear trap on the road, and the equalizer, and the redemption to revive them all. But that's not going to be enough. Krolix trying to look for the flank side. Does find Shiro. Not enough. Ace in the hole will not even touch the target he wants. Ciela still healthy, trying to fend off the minion wave.
Yeah, burning a few cooldowns there just to scare them off of the tower. They don't need to dive that too deeply. They just need to get a tower and get out, prepare for the Infernal Drake with the gold that they gained after all of those fights. But yeah, RG trying to go for a little bit more control in the early game with CYH, not failing because the pressure from KSPL is just way too much, breaking through all of the contingencies that Rigel wants to have, even though you have a very early game focused bot lane with Ciela, someone that can scale very quickly, very powerfully, like Revive on that Kled. It's just way too much considering that 10k gold lead now that KLH has, plus how they've been playing is so aggressive, always centering around Caspiel as well.
The Infernal Drake is up for grabs and uncontested again. KLH right now, 3 Drakes in the hands for them, plus 5 turrets and a Baron buff.
Man, Kuala Lumpur Hunters team fights and sieges are going to be very steamy with 2 Ocean Drakes and 1 Infernal Drake combining to make all these gold value for Kuala Lumpur Hunters is so much considering the regeneration, considering the attack damage and ability power boost. It's going to make them all hurt so much, and it seems like Rigel's control has never been there from the start.
Right now, it is 25 minutes into the game with KLH. The Baron buff will be running out soon. Yes, it did. So this gives Rigel more space to at least think of some counterplay.
Yeah, but all the map control that Kuala Lumpur Hunters got from pushing deep into the turrets of Rigel means that all of their resources are just being taken right now. All of their vision is being denied. And this just means that Kuala Lumpur Hunters just to get this go around this top lane.
Look at that, Ciela planting the control ward, but gets spotted out.
That's gonna
by
be a sad control ward.
Ciela really has to watch his position right now. The members of KLH will be focusing onto him. So look how he plays. He's so close. But let's see how it plays out. Since Ciela is the main damage, Rigel has to protect him.
Yeah, Kuala Lumpur Hunters is still respecting how Ivern shapes the terrain. Having that brush in means that they don't know who is behind the turret, and so they have enough respect to not go all in on that.
It's not a matter of who is behind the brush; it's the delay they have in order to hover in the mount. So let's see. Caspiel gets cut off by Kralix. There is the redemption to heal Kralix. Won't be enough. That is a disengage for Caspiel. The equalizer is ready. Shiro will be trying to look for the right time. Let's see. Oh, a burst from RH. Just deleted Ciela. With Ciela down, I think Rigel has no more decent damage.
That's going to be the turret. They're still backing off from it, waiting for...
In the bot side though, look at that minion wave.
They really need to pay attention to that. Seems like Revive will be the one to help with that, but he's the one with the other wave clear. He has the Titanic Hydra. So that's going to be a turret on the side of Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Oh, the turret in the bot lane is really low. There is the equalizer. CYH forcing out his flash.
Look at how fast a turret just gets shredded down. The CO4 and all of his attacks.
There is Stragglethorn still ready for Bipolar if ever they want to engage. There is the collateral damage and the charge onto Shiro. There is the Zonius and Flame Spitter dealing so much AoE damage. Caspiel is on a killing spree and Revive is very low. And it's going to be CO4 taking that double kill.
That's going to be almost an ace. This is definitely going to be an ace with CYH just accepting his death probably. No, just trying to run away, delay a little bit, but the slow from the Rain of Arrows will take him out for an ace, and I do think this is game in favor of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, bringing their record to 3-2. It's going to be game.
And that is game set. Congratulations to Kuala Lumpur Hunters for securing their victory against Rigel. And that was a nice game. We saw the same thing that KLH did. Rely on Caspiel. And Caspiel was the one to even remove the resources from the Ivern. So what Rigel wanted to do, they can't even do it because Caspiel will always nab the buff. Yeah,
Rigel at first, I think they wanted to do a control, very mid-rangey type of composition where they have pretty good, decent laning with lots of pressure and control coming from CYH, but they were not able to transition that into what they wanted because Caspiel was always so aggressive. KLH there were just warriors. They just went in there, tried to take resources, charge in. They were the ones who were charging in. They're in charge now. And they just continued taking away resources from Rigel, and eventually they just got too choked out. The control was never there from in the first place.
And right now, I think because of that game, Kuala Lumpur Hunters is still pretty solid in the group stages.
I still think that they're one of the most solid teams in the group stages of GPL 2017.
And right now, guys, we'll be having a short 15-minute break, and after our highlights, we'll be back for our next game. We have been your shoutcasters for this game. I am Vulcan, and joining with me was my co-caster, Atlas. Stay tuned for the next game after the highlights, then a short break. Kralix gets caught off guard by the Strangle Thor. He does flash away, but CYH is in grave danger. The Chain of Corrosion does land onto Kralix, but the focus is on to CYH. Next is Kralix. Look at that. 4 members collapsing onto Kralix. He gets taken down with the redemption. RH making his way. Carried away. Finishes off Arcane. There's the flash from CYH, but leaving CLF for dead. Revive is the only one remaining on Mountain. He gets taken down without any trouble. Right now, 3 members of our Rigel
turret just gets shredded down. CO4 and all of his attack speed.
There is Stranglethorn still ready for bipolar if ever they want to engage. There is the collateral damage and the charge onto Shiro. There is the Sonias and Flame Spitter dealing so much AoE damage. Caspiel is on a killing spree and Revive is very low. And it's going to be CO4 taking that double kill.
That's going to be almost an ace. This is definitely going to be an ace with CYH just accepting his death probably. Just trying to run away, delay a little bit, but the slow from the Rain of Arrows will take him out for an ace, and I do think this is game in favor of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, bringing their record to 3-2.
That is game set. Congratulations to Kuala Lumpur Hunters for securing their victory against Rigel, and that was a nice game. We saw the sync